welcome to Life's Undertaking. I'm your host, Brad Jones, from Ridley Funeral Home. And with me always is my good friend, producer, and co-host, Mike.
Brad Jones from Ridley Funeral Home, except no substitutes.
Absolutely. Absolutely no substitutes.
So last week, Brad, we talked about the new theme for Ridley Funeral Home that will prevent the bots from taking down our fine content from Spotify and YouTube, etc. So we shouted out the gentleman who put this together, didn't we?
We did. Yep. And again, Rob, this is fantastic. We love what you've done. It actually makes us sound more professional. But now that we have video, I don't know if I can say what makes us look more professional. But it's beautiful to have that music that we know is ours and ours alone until you license it and then you sue us after. But until then, we're happy.
Retroactively charge us royalty fees. Okay, so Brad, I teased you with a little story. I'm going to share a story that you don't know what's coming. So for the listenership, Brad has no idea where I'm going to go here. But it ties in with Rob Pruce. So that's why I wanted to segue over that. He put that together. We used it last week. We're using it this week. There's big news on the Life's Undertaking front that we have a YouTube channel now. So this video is going to go on the YouTube channel in addition to your Ridley Funeral Home Facebook and Instagram feed. That's exciting news.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I was talking to my friend, Jess Bun the other day, and they've got like over 100,000 or more subscribers now to their YouTube channel.
Okay,
which is pretty amazing and such a huge accomplishment for them. And I don't think I have any subscribers yet. So if you'd like to subscribe, please do.
Well, we're going to have the actual content there after this episode. So I'll tell you a little story and then maybe we can chat a little bit about Springtime. I was going to say Springtime in Vienna, but that is a song by a band you do not like. That's a Tragically Hip song.
Yeah. See, I wouldn't have known that until you said a band I do not like.
It's a big Tragically Hip song. Springtime in Vienna. This is Springtime in South Etobicoke, I suppose. Well, here's my story, okay? So we're chatting right now, Brad, on Wednesday, May 20th, 2026.
If you say so.
So it's like, I don't know, 4-ish p.m. Eastern time. I'm getting all these details down because it's going into the official state of record here. Okay, so tomorrow is Thursday, May 21st, 2026, and I am making my headlining debut at the El Macombo.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting news. That's pretty cool.
And I say headlining as if I've done like opening spots, and finally I'm going to get the headliner spot, but I've done no spots. This is the first time I've done anything like this. So I am going to be performing at the El Macombo tomorrow, and it's a ticketed event, so people are paying real money to buy tickets to go to my to this Toronto Mike's what do I call it, social experiment. This is happening tomorrow.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I know there's lots of people that we know that are planning to head out to enjoy the show and possibly heckle, but I think most of it's to enjoy the show.
So the plan was, you'll note that I'm using past tense with that word, was. The plan was doors were going to open. Well, the doors will open at 6:30 p.m. And then Rob Pruce, the same guy who put together our opening and closing theme here on Life's Undertaking, Rob Pruce was going to do an opening for a good, 45 minutes or so. And then at 7:55 p.m., Rob Pruce was going to play on piano the song he co-wrote, Romantic Traffic. That is a classic Spoon song. You know that song.
I do know that song, yes.
So then at 8 o'clock, when I hear Romantic Traffic, I'm going to take the mic and I'm going to do a 90-minute presentation. But it's 90 minutes because there are musical elements to what I've prepared. Rob Pruce on keyboards has certain songs that get interwoven into what I'm talking about. So it's kind of like he's on stage like my Paul Schaefer and he's playing keyboard or whatever. And then I do a grand finale that heavily involves Rob Pruce. This is at like 9:30, I'll say. And then that's like a fake grand finale, but that's the grand finale. Then there's a grand finale with special guests. That's what is queued up for tomorrow. You with me?
I'm with you.
Okay,
I'm with you. And I'm assuming the El Macombo sells alcohol, right?
Lots of Great Lakes beer at the El Macombo.
Perfect.
You're gonna need lots of that. Okay. So just moments ago, so I recorded with Stu Stone.
Stu Stone, yep.
We did a recording. Then I had a quick WhatsApp call with Rob just to touch on some details. And then, of course, I knew the great Brad Jones from Ridley Funeral Home is going to be here. Now, during that quick call with Rob Bruce, he goes, Mike, I'm throwing a wrench into the plans. So I think he wants to bring another musician in there. I'm bracing myself. Okay, does he have like a new drummer he wants to bring in there? What's Rob doing here? Rob tells me, Rob lives in New York State. That's a key part of the story. So Rob tells me his catalytic converter was stolen out of his driveway. So do you know that this is happening? Do you tell the people what's happening here?
This happens everywhere. In Toronto and Brampton and Mississauga and obviously New York State too. Yeah, they get underneath your car and they steal this catalytic converter because it's worth thousands of dollars.
Okay, well, I hope the hearses at Ridley Funeral Home are protected, but that would be terrible if you woke up and saw the catalytic converter had been ripped out.
Yeah, it's a good thing about having a garage that you can keep your cars in that, isn't
I don't have
access.
one of those, so you're worrying me here. Okay, so Rob Bruce, he says, okay, I took my car to the shop. They don't have the parts. He goes, I can't drive my car to Toronto for this Elmo gig. And he says there are no rentals available because I'd cough up some money to help him get here if he rented a car or whatever. He says there are no rentals. He says, Mike, there's no way for me to get to the Elma combo tomorrow. Like I learned this minutes ago. So then I'm like, okay, I'll talk this out with Brad, and then we'll talk about springtime in Toronto. But so what it does is this is months of preparation. Okay. Everything, and it's not Rob's fault, obviously, but all this is, I was thinking about how the best laid plans of mice and men often go astray. Like I've been talking about, I have it broken down. I can see the minute this happens, when Rob comes in with this song, there's this preparation that was a sort of a two of us preparing this thing. In fact, he's opening act basically, then he's part of the 90 minutes and then he's part of the grand finale. And he's part of the grand finale, actually, to be honest. So it's just interesting now as I speak to you that I'm thinking, oh, you got to roll with the punches. Like this is a wrench in the plans. You got to think about maybe a plan B. How do you do your 90 minutes without Rob Bruce? What do you do in that opening slot that was going to be Rob Bruce? Like all this stuff circulating in my brain right now, but it's sure interesting when life throws you a curveball.
Yeah, now can people get their money back for not having Rob there?
No refunds, no. But wow. interesting curveball, right?
You know what? It's horrible. It's horrible. I feel bad for Rob. I feel bad for you. I feel bad for, anyone that was hoping to see Rob tomorrow. And, not that he's, going to steal your thunder, but it was like the lead up to this whole Elma combo thing was sounding pretty exciting, and it's not.
And now you're not excited anymore.
It's not as exciting. It's just different.
Well, there'll be a plan B. I don't know what plan B looks like, but yeah, it's not as we drew it on the board. So we drew it on the board. This is the performance. This is going to be great. All the people in attendance will have a great time. And now there's a part of it that we have to replace, or we have to modify things to remove a part. Yeah, but in life, I was thinking this is life, right? In life, you can make plans, but you don't always have control over all the many variables at play. And the best laid plans of mice and men often go astray, Brad.
Well, it's so true. Life throws us constant curveballs. Life changes everything, We talk about this at work all the time because we're dealing with families that are under completely stressful situations. And I'm going to say 75 to 80% we're not planning to arrange a funeral the day that they come in to arrange a funeral. This is part of life. So many of us, we have plans, right? We have plans for today, tomorrow, next week, next month. You've got plans into the future. I've got plans into the future. And all it takes is something tragic, something unexpected, and you end up dying. And sometimes we die with plans still to take place. It's rare for somebody to be able to put their affairs all in order because they know something's coming. They know that their death is coming. They've got a palliative disease. So they'll put their lives in orders, but sometimes they'll still have plans. They're going to plan to go see their cousin next week because that's when their cousin is coming over from Europe, and they don't make it to that day. So yeah, this is in the grand scheme of things, this really sucks for Rob. It really sucks for you. But it's not life altering.
No,
it's just
even
life
hearing
changing.
you talk about, we had plans and then somebody gets sick and maybe they pass away suddenly, or maybe things turn south on the health front. Like when you think about those situations, you realize, like, as far as curveballs go, no one's going to die here. Like, we'll adapt and we'll figure it out. But, at least Rob didn't wake up and, I'm sick as a dog or whatever. It's just a piece of metal in his driveway that some goons hacked at. I don't know. I didn't know this. I kind of read a little bit about this catalytic converter thing, but I never really knew anybody it happened to until now. Even that is kind of like that car is in your driveway, and then a big chunk of it is just stolen in the dark of night. Like, that is kind of violating there. But Rob's okay.
Yeah, well, it could be worse.
I don't know if his wallet's
it
okay.
Could be worse.
That doesn't sound very economical. It sounds like it's going to hurt his wallet, but
yeah, I suspect, because your deductible is probably not as much as the catalytic converter. So yeah, it's going to cost him some money. Maybe tomorrow night at the Alma Combo, we should pass around the hat.
Like, make it a fundraiser for Rob's. So Rob, we know you listen to every episode of Life's Undertaking, and obviously none of this is your fault, and you'll be missed like crazy by no one more than me, because I built a lot of stuff around your unique skill set. But I'm going to watch my 10-year-old kick a soccer ball around later today, and while I watch her do that, I'll be like brainstorming plan B, plan C, plan D, and then see what can we cook up in 24 hours.
Yeah, you could live stream him live from New York. You could do.
Well, we thought of that too. Like, he would zoom in, but
it's not quite the same. You could have him live stream in, and then you could have someone faking on the keyboards.
Do you want to do that? Well, yeah, I don't know fakery, but yeah, that was an option. Like, zoom him in. But I'm gonna have to noodle this one. But just a good lesson for everybody that you should always make plans, but then you always have to anticipate the fact that life will throw one of its trademark curveballs at you.
Yeah, well, you know what? If you swing and you miss that curveball, it's okay. You got at least 2 more pitches. We've watched the Blue Jays do that a few times this season, where they've missed those curveballs that have come at them, and thrown away some great spring wins that we could have had, but.
Okay, you mentioned the Blue Jays, but I should remind the listeners that I spent the last 2 Sunday afternoons at Christie Pitts. And this past Sunday, it was a beautiful sunny day. Like, the weather was just perfect. And I'm telling you, Brad, this is the largest crowd I've seen at Christie Pitts to watch a Toronto Maple Leafs baseball game. I don't know if they were there to see Yasiel Puig or if they were there to see me, but your Ridley Funeral Home is represented on the outfield fence. Like, you can still see the Ridley Funeral Home ad and the logo. And I think a lot of people were there to see if Puig would knock one out.
Yeah, I think that's pretty exciting for the team to have this big hitter out there on the diamond. But I think it's one of those things where I think people are looking for something that's affordable.
Yeah.
And the ticket there is perfect, zero. Something to go and see and watch and do. It's something, it's unique to that part of our Toronto, that people can go and sit and watch a ball game that is, maybe not the Blue Jays, but it's still pretty high caliber. It's still great.
It's entertaining.
Yeah, it's very entertaining. And, you go and spend, an hour or 2 and you watch most of the game or all the game, and, sit on the lawn, bring some chairs, buy something to drink. I think they're licensed and they're selling some brews there too.
Oh yeah, they got a left field set up there selling beer, but you can bring your beer to the park now. Like, you can go buy a beer at the LCBO and bring it to the game.
Yeah, I think it's just fantastic to have another option for people to have something to do in Toronto that doesn't cost a family a ton of money, and it's we love supporting them and being a part of that organization with our advertising dollars, and we're happy to see that they're having great crowds for this season. And I think it's word of mouth. It's growing, right? Like, this is the 3rd or 4th year that Keith has been in charge.
Yeah, 3rd.
Yeah, and he's building a great brand, and it's going to take, things like this don't happen overnight. It doesn't matter what it is. Toronto Mike didn't happen overnight. Life's Undertaking didn't happen overnight. It's a lot of work and a lot of energy that goes into these things, and it's great to see them growing and flourishing.
I always say Ridley Funeral Home, pillars of the community, and that's a great community event that happens at Christie Pitts, and I'm glad you're a part of it. And it's something to do this spring.
Yeah, and actually more for the spring. Coming up on June the 6th is the Grilled Cheese Fest here in New Toronto, and Ridley's will be representing again. Unfortunately, I won't be there. One of our sons is getting married. Tyrell's getting married on that day, so I'll be busy at a wedding. And
tell him to get married at the Grilled Cheese Challenge.
Yeah, I don't think that would fly for him. But yeah, no, that would have been great. It would have been a lot more affordable for the dinner. But it's funny walking over here. It got me thinking about spring and memories of spring and what it means to me. And as I'm walking along Lakeshore and, listening to the cars going by and, the noises of the birds, it reminds me of it being a kid. And I used to love the sound of my grandfather's Volkswagen camper. And as that motor would be coming around the corner and we'd all be playing street hockey out front, because back then we all played street hockey. We didn't play basketball. But you'd hear that engine come around the corner, and he would be coming back from his winters in Florida to come and spend a few months in Hamilton before heading back down to the winter. And, and it got me thinking, spring's such an amazing time, and it's my least favorite season of the year. I prefer summer, winter, and fall. Fall is probably my favorite, and then summer and winter, and spring is my least favorite. And I never understood why. I still don't understand why. Winter's one of those things where it's cold and gloomy, but spring is all the things that have been buried all winter long start popping out of the ground. All these flowers, these bulbs, the trees start blossoming. The Toronto Mike tree in front of your house, that's in full bloom right now.
1 week a year.
1 week a year. Yeah. It's not a cherry tree. It's
it's a crabapple or
crabapple, something like that. Yeah. But the flowers on it are beautiful. And it's amazing because spring, like all these buds, all these beautiful things that we see happen so quickly, and then they're gone for another year. And then, you're just into summer, and, now you start getting the fruits of all these trees. And, and I think it's kind of like, the Toronto baseball team, they're getting the fruits of their labors from things that they've done for the last little while. It's such an incredible time of year. It's so much fun to watch all this stuff happening and unfolding. And I think, for me, it's like, okay, spring's done. Let's get on to summer. I'm waiting for that hot weather and spending time in the water and, doing all those summer things that you can't do.
Does it ever get too hot for you?
No.
Yeah, no. I'm with you.
No.
But you do hear the complaints.
You know what?
I heard it on the weekend.
Standing in the lobby of a funeral home, it's amazing how many people will come in and they'll talk about how hot it is, and then I'll be talking to them 6 months later at another service, and they're talking about how cold it is. I personally embrace all the weather, and it's like, you go for a walk and it starts to pour, and I'm walking the dog, and it's like, well, I'm sopping wet now, and you just continue to walk and spend the next hour out there in the rain, and it's like, it's just rain, it's just water. And it's, for me, I'm going home. I can get my clothes off, put some dry clothes on. I'm fortunate in that fact, but I don't think I'd want to work out in the rain every day. But the weather's something that it's kind of like the curveball we were talking about earlier.
Exactly like that.
You just deal with what you're given, right? And if you can deal with it, you can adapt to it. I think it makes your life a little less stressful, a little less difficult, and way more enjoyable.
You play the cards you're dealt.
Yeah, and you know what? Even if you're dealt crappy cards, you can still play them in a way that you can win.
Absolutely. Now, speaking of winning, can you remind me, I believe I know the answer, but how did Ridley Funeral Home do at the 2025 Grilled Cheese Challenge?
Yeah, we didn't win. We didn't even place in the top 3 last year. The year before that, we were, I think, first or second.
I think you were first 2 years ago.
2 years ago, we were first. The year before that, we were second. We had one other first place running, and then I think we were a third place once before.
And I know the answer to this. I'm asking you all the questions I know the answer to, like I'm your lawyer. But Franklin Horner, the good people at Franklin Horner, they make the grilled cheese, right?
Yeah, so our staff are the front of the house, and their staff are the back of the house. They do all the cooking. We normally get together this time of year to perfect what we want to be serving, and it'll be a grilled cheese with some maple syrup, some bacon. We use like a Cobb's bread, so it's lots of little bits and pieces that we put together to make this a winning sandwich. And the hope is to win it again. All the money that we raise goes to Franklin Horner, which is an amazing cause. They do incredible work in our community. One of the things that they've started doing the last few years was food from faraway friends. So they're delivering almost 200 meals once a week to members of our community. It's a lot of it's seniors. A lot of it is people that are shut in. And it's a great service that we do. It's incredible what they're able to accomplish. But we're happy that they continue to work with us on this. And it's a great fundraising event for them.
So I have the deets, the specifics. I'm speaking to everyone as if they know all about the grilled cheese challenge because I love going to it every year. But it is on the day you mentioned, June 6th. It is 11 a.m. to 8 p.m. The admission is free, so you can attend the grilled cheese challenge for free. Then buy a delicious grilled cheese sandwich from the Ridley Funeral Home people. But it is on Lakeshore Boulevard West from Islington Avenue, which is also kind of known as 7th Street. So Islington turns into 7th to 2nd Street. So on Lakeshore between 7th and 2nd, they shut down the street, and there's a lot of great stuff. There's dog shows and dancing, and there's, of course, Great Lakes is there, and there's a stage, at least one, maybe more stages with great music, and, of course, delicious grilled cheese sandwiches.
Yeah, I would encourage people to come, and if you're not going to buy a grilled cheese, that's great. Just come and enjoy the music, enjoy meeting your neighbors and saying hi to everyone on the street, and take in the sunshine, the grilled cheese, take in the music. Maybe have a beer or a pop. Enjoy the day. I think it's fantastic to get into the community, and thanks for listening to this episode of Life's Undertaking. And we look forward to talking to you in another week or two.